everybody, this is Minus from wowplus.org, and today I'm actually going to be going into how to create WeakAuras. Now, this is video number one, and there are going to be a number of videos on WeakAuras because I do not want to try to put everything into one video. So in this video, I'm going to go quickly through making a cooldown progress spell and how to put it into a group, as well as to just quickly talk about what is going on within the actual WeakAuras menu. So if you see where we're at here, this is on beta. I'm playing an Assassination Rogue, which I just started to trial and start writing a little bit about. And to do it, especially with any DPS class, I find having a WeakAuras set to aid in your rotation is extremely important. And I know a lot of you may say, well, I can just import WeakAuras, so why am I going to create my own? Well, you have to remember that WeakAuras are made to help you with your rotation, and everybody is unique in a sense of having different things that affect them that cause their ability to fall out of rotation to be different. So while some custom WeakAuras are fantastic, they may be loaded with things you don't need, or they may highlight things that you don't need on there at all. So being able to create your own WeakAuras set, to me, actually helps you improve your rotation because it helps you understand your rotation. So I'm actually going to go the progress through these videos in showing you me creating my assassination WeakAuras. So let's go ahead and get into it and do our first spell icon. We're going to do Garrote. And I just want to show you how to create Garrote, put it into a WeakAura. So into a WeakAura group. So first things first, hit /WA, and that's going to open up your WeakAuras. So I want to show you a couple things here. New is where we're going to create a new item. From a template in live, we'll give you spells already pre-made, so you can skip some of the process we're showing you here and be able to then go in and edit them. But sometimes you may just want to make your own so you don't have to do the process of editing. Progress texture is a texture that will fill in color similar to the time left on it. Texture is a picture. Dynamic group is a group that allows you to move things around. Model is not often used except for in streaming. Honestly, don't recommend ever using a 3D model in raiding environment. It's not something that's going to help you. Group is extraordinarily important. We're going to make one of those in this video. Text is for you to be able to put text up on the screen under certain conditions. You'll laugh, but on my Warlock, I had one that said burning really big, so that when I activated my run speed buff, I knew when it was on, so I didn't leave it on, which was pretty common for Warlocks. Icon is where you can put a spell icon up in the on the screen wherever you want. Progress bar will be for buffs or debuffs on targets or yourself, and import is how you import. And real quickly, I'll show you, these are 4 that I've made on beta. These are not any that I use on live. They've all been made here. I have a Holy Priest one. That's a mana bar within all my cooldowns above it. Holy Priest, very similar. Once I actually start to make WeakAuras, I like to try to keep them the same for healers and DPS and such. This is a Rep Paladin. I've actually been playing Rep Paladin a lot, and I've actually made this to be right underneath my character so that I can look where I'm at and do my rotation. Still a work in progress there. And then this is my Shadow Priest, which I actually keep up to the left a little bit. Probably end up moving that, which you can do easily like that. Okay, so those are the preloaded. These are now not loaded due to the fact that I'm not on a Holy Priest, Paladin, or Shadow Priest. So what's nice about that when we create what we're about to here with a group, it's very important that you don't load add-ons you don't need just to increase the overall performance of your computer. So the first thing we're going to do is go into new, and we're going to create our group. So just like we have a group here for Holy Priest, Paladin, etc., we need one for Assassination. So I'm going to go ahead and create that group. And this group is just going to hold all the different WeakAuras we make, but it's going to keep it a lot cleaner. That becomes really important if you're making a lot of different WeakAuras. So we're going to go back to new, and now we're going to create an icon. It's going to put a default size here. I'll show you all of that. Don't worry about that. But what we're going to do is make one for Garrote, because we want to know when it's ready off cooldown, and that's able to be clicked. Now, some of you may say, why is that important? Like, I have Garrote right here. I can see my cooldown right here. Well, depending on what size screen you're playing on, right now I'm on a 40-inch. If I'm looking down here, I'm not seeing what's going on right here, which means I'm standing and stuff. And I think that a lot of players have that issue, whether it's a big or small screen. Being able to put WeakAuras up near your character give you the ability to be in tune with your rotation, but also in tune with the fight. So what I'm doing right here is a very basic build of a WeakAura item here for you. We'll get into customizing and things later. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to name this Garrote. And it's really important to spell things right, specifically when you're designing it, not so much when you're naming it, but I like to be very thorough. So make sure that you're always spelling it right, exactly how Blizzard has it, with spaces or with any capital letters. So now that we've created Garrote, we have to worry about a few things. First of all, display is one of the last things we'll look at. We can edit it. The first thing we need to do is load it, because right now it's loaded just because we're working on it, but you can see these are not loaded. These don't have any conditions yet. So the first things first is I will always use these 3 items for loading: player class, talent specialization, and if it is a talent ability, I will make it only load when I select that talent. Now, Garrote is an ability that is always usable to an assassination rogue. So we're going to pick rogue, and then we're going to pick assassination. That way I can make an assassination and an outlaw set for the 2 that I've been playing, and they won't interact with each other. So right now, when I log into a rogue assassination, this Garrote is going to load. The other thing you can do, some people like a very clean interface when they're not in combat. If you'd like to put this as in combat or not in combat, that's absolutely fine. You can click that. I, however, like to keep everything up so that I know where I'm at heading into combat. So for now, we're going to keep it like that. So now we have to actually set what this is, because Garrote is not a question mark. We want to see Garrote. We want it to trigger with Garrote. So we're going to go into here, and we're going to go into status. Now, there's a bunch of different menus in here. We'll talk about that at a later time. But status is what we're going to pick, and the status that we need is a cooldown progress of a spell. Now, the reason I selected Garrote to be the first ability we make is because it has a 6-second cooldown. Mutilate, which will also make a spell icon 4, does not have a cooldown. So this becomes a little bit trickier when designing it to show up and let you know when it's capable of being used versus your energy. So we'll get into that later. So Garrote's actually very easy, because Garrote is typically going to be used whenever it's off cooldown, and you want to be able to monitor its cooldown. So with Garrote, we want to go into what type of status is this. It is a cooldown progress spell. Okay, and then we need to name it. This is where we pick what we're talking about. Now, what's really important here is if I click in here, you'll see I can't move that cursor. And if I start typing Garrote, you can see that it won't allow me to do it because invalid spell name and everything is still there. You have to actually use your arrow keys. I don't know why it's not mouse clickable, but use your arrow keys and go ahead and get rid of that. You'll find this to be the case in a lot of WeakAuras menus. So again, just like we said before, make sure you spell it exactly as it's spelled with the capitals and everything. And when you hit enter, you'll see that this is immediately going to change to Garrote. So there it is. We have the ability. So now we do have to do a couple more things here. If you scroll all the way to the bottom here, it's going to say that it's always going to show it on cooldown. So what this means is that right now, if we were to use that spell, it would go away. You would see it disappear. And then when it's back, it will come back up. So it'll only show up when it's usable. For spells with cooldown, I like to actually do it a little differently. I will have it always show. And then what we'll do, so that's all we have to do for trigger. You can see that here. So we've picked the spell. We change it to a cooldown progress spell, so that's what it knew we were looking for. Show always. The last piece here is display. I want it to show cooldown text. See how it's actually giving you a demo of what that looks like? So in display right at the top here, cooldown text is shown. Now I'm not going to get into everything else here. You'll see there's a lot of different things with resizing it. Right now our icon's 64 by 64. That's rather large, but let's not even worry about that. Let's not get into that. I want to show you how this is going to work real quick as we go fight one of these deer, and hopefully I don't die. So watch Garrote. I'm actually going to open with it. You can see it now shows a 6-second cooldown there. And you can see it's swirling around to show that it's back. So I don't need to look down at the bottom for Garrote right now. I can just sit here and I can look at my WeakAuras ability. And that's a really simple way of doing it. So let's go ahead and open WeakAuras back up. Now, once we finish a WeakAuras, and I'm not going to say we're completely done. It might be a little too big. We'll get into editing later. You want to hit this little button here, the arrow, and then click on your group. And that is part of the assassination group. Pretty simple. That's a simple way to make an icon. In the next video, we'll start to customize this icon a little bit and put some more icons into play.